All right. Kiriko.
I like being near the ocean. It reminds me of where I was born.
Wait, hold on. Hijinks. Are you okay with me going absolutely ham on you? Like, pointing out, like, the smallest mistakes? Or do you just want a generalization of how you can perform better? Like, can you take it? If I go absolutely haram on you, can you take it? Or do you want me to go a little bit easy on you? As long as it's not mean, sure. A firm. Got you. Sounds good.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Yeah, important. Team comps. Enemy team, Soldier, Sojourn, Anna, Kiriko, Diva. In your team, Sen, Kiriko, Sombra, Junkrat, and Ramatra. I actually think that you have the better team comp. Just looking at team comps, like across the board, I feel like you have a better team comp. Sombra is actually going to do a lot of work against Diva.
An enemy here.
Let me balance you out.
Right off the rip, we have talked extensively about this, Hijinks, where we're trying to... So I guess the rotation, I mean, even if she has the rotation, I think it's important to point this out. When a team member of yours is not critical, right? The way we want to approach her kunais and her healing, popping fucking shredding paper, IRS papers or whatever, is that you want to heal twice, so 2 sets of cards and 1 kunai, right? Or you can do it the other way around. You heal once on a non-critical target, and then you kunai twice. It's up to you how you feel like, but that's generally what a lot of Kiriko players will do, is that we'll heal once, throw 2 kunais, heal once, throw 2 kunais, and they'll keep that rotation for the rest of the game, right? They will go to the other rotation if a target in your team is critical, just like your Ramatra is right now. In this case, you would heal him twice, kunai once, right? So unless something is critical, it's completely fair to throw some cards at a team member who is not critical, and then just kunai a little bit, and then heal. If you keep that rotation down, you'd be very surprised that sometimes you get a random headshot, and that leads to a kill, right? And I think it's important to try and pay attention a little bit to your surroundings. And make sure that your teleport and Susu cooldowns is off so you can get to someone really quickly. I like this positioning. There's nothing wrong here. If I would have played this slightly different, though, I would have liked to play, if I were you, I would have liked to play down here instead. The reason why we want to play around this angle instead is because, I mean, you see it yourself, right? You play down here, you can still heal everything that you want to do. You can still do your rotation completely fine, but you run into a bigger chance of, on the offset, of getting a kill here, right? So if you're healing your Ramatra, that means that you can throw a fucking kunai into the herd, and maybe you get lucky with a headshot. Boom, you get a kill, you win the team fight, right? So I think Kiriko is a lot about positioning, and if you can find sightlines like these, you don't have to have the craziest aim, but if you can heal and simultaneously do some damage at the team where you build your ultimate faster, boom, much better, right? So try and keep that in your head, that whenever you're trying to do your rotation, always try to have a little bit of a distance between you and the enemy, but make sure that you can see them, right? You understand what I'm saying? I feel like it's very, very important to try and take sightlines where your kunais can actually hit targets instead of you kind of throwing them into the wind and hoping for the best. Because right here, we can actually manipulate a little bit where the kunais are going. So I kind of want to point that out. It's an important thing. And you'd be surprised how many times the kunais actually get a kill. I'm surprised that Susu actually didn't happen.
I'm here.
So right there, positional error again. Let's go back a little bit. Little bit. Let's go back here. So I think you see kind of what's wrong with your positioning right here. We always, as a support player, right? And chat, pen and papers down. It doesn't matter what rank you are, right? Chat, it does not matter. It doesn't matter if you're bronze. It doesn't matter if you're gold. It doesn't matter if you're plat. It doesn't matter if you're diamond. This positioning is wrong, right? And the reason for this is that the higher rank that you get up to, you're going to get punished for this, right? Imagine you're playing Kiriko right now, and I'm playing Widow in the enemy team. What do you think happens here? You die, right? So we're trying to find a positioning where we don't have to use our teleport unless necessary have to. 2, we never want to take too much damage, right? So we're always trying to find sight lines where we can heal our tank, but also kind of see where the enemy is. But we kind of want to do it behind cover a little bit. And the reality of the situation is, you would do just fine playing over here instead. You will do the exact thing that you're doing. And look at this. You see what I'm saying? Throw 2 healing cards on the Ramatra. Go left. Throw a kunai. 2 healing cards on Ramatra. Sidestep left. Throw a kunai. 2 heal. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying, Hijinks? Do you see how important the positioning here is? So, this kind of gameplay alone probably would have given you a kill. And this is what it's all about. And if you're a support player, the number one thing that you should always keep in mind is, where's the enemy? How can I see the enemy? How can I avoid damage? And how can I see my tank? Those are the 3 things. That's kind of like a checklist, what you want to keep in your head when you're taking positioning like this, right? Playing up front in coast like this is most probably going to make you take damage. It's going to make you pop your cooldowns prematurely. And if you're in a higher rank, you're going to get punished for it immediately. If a Kiriko uses her Susu and teleports to her tank, I'm on that ass, dude. I am on that ass, and I'm going to eat you alive. So that's why I'm pointing it out. We never want to be in a position where we have to use our defensive cooldowns unless we necessarily have to.
I'm here. Feels like solid, huh?
Careful, careful, careful. Take cover. Teleport, teleport, teleport.
Now go get 'em.
So the way I would have approached this instead, there's a little bit of mistakes happening right now, and I don't want to scoff on this. It's very, 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 very important that we go through this, right? And this is not me BMing you. I just want to point out how we could have played this much, much better, right? So, you take a step to the right. You've already teleported to your Ramatra. Use your Susu. Right now, you're in a okay position. It's a little bit risky, right? Also, those shots look fucking insane. Is that how many shots he's actually shooting? That's wait, where is the diva even? Wait, where's the diva? Ah, well, anyways. It's okay if you move over here. Oh, there she is. It's okay if you move over here and you kind of like, you know, heal your Ramatra. But it comes back to what we talked about on that first point, right? Where you want to try and find sightline where you don't take too much damage, right? Right now, we're jumping in. We're healing our Ramatra. Ramatra is fine. Ramatra is not critical, so you're doing okay. But the moment the diva sees you, she then decides to charge at you, right? And what happens then is that you panic a little bit and you throw down your Susu. Now, that's the first mistake. A better diva will fly at you with Defense Matrix. And if she flies at you with the Defense Matrix, she will eat your Susu and effectively you die, right? So, what do you want to do in this position instead? Well, in this case, you heal the Ramatra, you take a side step over here, no enemy, okay, we're fine, they're not looking at you, and then you want to rotate around this pillar. If she decides to chase you, it is completely fine to use your teleport as a means to survive, right? The reason why I'm saying that is using your Susu like just right off the rip is never going to work, right? It might work here, but the moment you start climbing to other ranks, that diva is going to fly at you with Defense Matrix and you just wasted a Susu. So generally speaking, how do we approach this? Well, you heal the Ramatra, you move back here, you go around the pillar, diva comes at you. When she gets close to you, you can teleport to the Ramatra, giving you effectively invulnerability frames, so she can't do damage for a little bit, and then you Susu, right? That way, the Susu gets the maximum value. From that point onwards, it's a little bit risky because the enemy team is looking at you. We start using the payload as a means to cover, right? And if this doesn't work, it's always about finding places to kind of avoid damage, right? That's what it all comes down to. And when your rotation gets down in your head, where you don't have to think about it, where you do 2 sets of papers, 1 kunai, that rotation is down in your head, you can start kind of finding pillars and ways to avoid damage as much as possible, right? So I want to point that out because it's important. For some people in chat, they might go, yeah, but, you know, she didn't eat the Susu, so why are you saying that? I'm saying that because once Hijinks starts climbing ranks and gets to a higher rank, diva players are going to get substantially smarter, and they're never going to like charge at you without having Defense Matrix available, right? So that play would not have worked in, say, a GM rank, for example. Hopefully that makes sense, chat. Foreshadowing.
Okay.
A pure panic? Completely fine. I can tell the way you're playing that you panic too. Oh, that was a nice
We
attempt.
need to move the payload.
You did your best to try and save the Junkrat there, but sometimes it's just not enough. It's okay to panic. That's why I'm here, man. That's why I'm here for all of you, chat. I'm just trying to make you get better players, you know? Just trying to make you guys as best that you can be. So it's okay if you make mistakes. That's what we're looking for.
Purify.
Good, Susu.
My gift to you.
Okay, about the sight lines again. Okay, decent positioning.
Like a gentle rain.
Do you see how important it is that you kind of keep the rotation in your head, where you throw away one set of paper, and then you kunai twice to where the enemy is, right? Do you see how important it is? Because
Poggy.
technically speaking, if you had the rotation in your head at this particular moment, you most probably would have gone to kill off the soldier, right? Because you literally had your crosshair on his head, but we opted in to heal the Ramatra instead. Again, a little bit of panicking, but that's what's so cool about the rotation, that once it goes down in your head and you understand it and it becomes automatic, you'll start getting a lot more kills that way. So I'm just pointing it out again that it's very, very important that we try and focus that rotation down, and the rest is history. Thank you, Orpha, for the 61 months. And Honey Badger with the Prime. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Rip them to pieces. You wage a war you cannot win. Thank you.
Chad, does that make sense to you as well?
Safe with me.
Does it make sense to you as well? Monka W. Ah, the Susu. Nice play.
This ends now.
Okay. Don't want to hammer the point in because we already talked about it, but if you had a left side angle right here, it would have served the same purpose, right? Like, it all comes down to trying to avoid as much damage as possible, right? And if we had that perceived notion in our head, we would have taken a left side position, or we would have taken a right side position around this pillar, right here, right? And that's the whole point, right? That's why I'm trying to hammer it down as much as I'm trying to say, is that it's super, super important to try and avoid enemy ultimates as they come in, right? Now, lucky for us, the Sojourn didn't really hit many shots, but, you know, on the offset that you might get lucky, you might die early, and that's effectively the team fight is over, right? If you die first, generally speaking, there's not going to be enough heals for the Zenyatta, and your team loses this fight, right? That's why I'm trying to hammer this point down so much that if you play around this pillar right here, you can kind of like, you know, do the little wiggle peeking like this. Do you see what I'm saying? And you're kind of playing it safe. And if you want to, like, you know, change it a little bit, you're playing Kiriko that can wall climb, so we can climb up here and kind of, you know, do the same thing again where we heal a little bit, we throw a kunai, we jump down again. Like, it's all about randomizing kind of how you approach it, right? And if that is not good enough, you can also play on the left side here as well. Like, you can do the same thing here as well. You have full control over where the enemy is. You can kind of like heal here without taking damage. You can go here. You can throw a kunai over the payload, maybe get a lucky headshot. You can heal your tank, and you're all doing it from a safe angle, right? And the reason why I'm pointing this out so much is because obviously right now we have a lot of issues when it comes to positional, well, not positional, but position, right? So it's all about being unpredictable, right? Even when you play support, it's all about being unpredictable. If the enemy team doesn't know where you're at and you're always in a different spot, it's going to be very difficult for them to try and hammer you down and pin your location and try and get to you. On the offset that they might, at least you're playing the cards right and you're doing what you can and the best for your team to survive. But in these particular cases, there's a lot of time where we're kind of like standing out in the middle and we're not really getting punished for it, but you are going to get punished for it as you start to rank up. So I'm trying to just teach you that to play a little bit smarter with the positioning and get the rotation down is going to make wonders. So I just want to point it out one more time.
You and your visor.
Time to try again.
What did Ramatra say? You and your visor? Huh?
My gift to you.
He sounded really angry. Okay, now we have ultimate. Let's see how we use it.
My ultimate is ready. Enemy here.
Okay, gotta be a little bit careful with the positioning right now. The soldier is looking at us. See, it's kind of interesting, right? That if we you know, if you had the knowledge that I've been sharing with you thus far, we could have avoided using Susu there, and we would have had it for your tank when he needs it, right? So I'm not going to hammer this point anymore beyond this point, but you can kind of see like what I mean, right? Like if we position ourselves a little bit smarter and we don't take unfavorable duels and angles like we do, we actually can save our ultimates and our cooldowns for situations where they're more needed, right? I think Susu is the strongest ability in the entire game, like bar none. And the fact that we have to use it as a means to try and survive from just getting chipped out is really, really bad. So this is the last time I'm going to hammer this point down, try and remember it. But yeah, we always want to find angles where we don't have to use our defensive cooldowns like this. And then we're dead. Dead. Okay. Well, if your team dies here, you're gonna group up, and then you have a perfect Kiriko ultimate to use. So
the
that's.
Spring flows anew.
Yeah.
I'm here. Got an enemy here. You take a lot of damage, huh?
This one.
It's important that you. So this is something that I see a lot in all kinds of ranks, to be honest with you. And I think it's important that you try and figure out a game plan in your head, where and how you want to use your ultimate, right? Like kind of like you set conditions for how you want to use the ultimate, right? Most of the time when there's no game plan and it's all random, this tend to happen quite a bit where you kind of like, you're about to die and you kind of throw the ultimate out and it's a 50-50 whether the ultimate gets a value or not, right? So in my case, what I would have liked to do instead is that before I even walk in and the team fight happens, I like to have like a set of conditions that need to happen for me to use my ultimate, right? And if none of those conditions happen, I save them, right? And it's very clear to me that you kind of go into the fight and you hope for the best. And in this particular case, this ultimate is not going to do anything. It's not really going to help your Ramatra that much. It might help him get one kill here, but on the offset that he does, I don't actually think that this is going to lead to a win. Instead, I kind of like to have a game plan, right? I kind of, maybe instead of like throwing the ultimate down when you're about to die, it could be, you know, sort of ideal to use the ultimate as a way to engage, right? Does that make sense? Like, I think a lot of people underestimate how strong Kiriko's ultimate is as an engagement thing, right? Like you engage the fight with the ultimate and your entire team gets like the full benefit from it. And even if you lose that fight, at least your team got to use it, right? Ultimates like these are very, very rare in the sense that they actually get value. So when you have ultimate, try and have a game plan in your head. Like what needs to happen for you to use it? Do you want to use it as an engagement? Or do you want to hold it for when your team just accidentally kind of bumps into each other? You know what I'm saying? Also, chat, I see the ads. Don't worry. I see the ads. All right, ads are over. Let's go back. Let's go back. All right, let's take a look.
I am on fire.
Okay, I learned from that.
It's okay, Chad. It's not a big deal. If you fail the test, the punishment is death. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. I mean, your team is staggered right here. IMO, you should kind of let them die and just wait for them to respawn so you're a 5-man team again. But hey, you did what you could with what you had. The Susu was a little bit random. I would have liked for you to teleport and then Susu so you can guarantee it. But let's be honest, your team was staggered. There's not really much you can do there.
I will give you shelter.
I will give you shelter. Monka. Okay, decent positioning. Better. That was better. Do you see how you managed to stay alive with a Visor and the Diva trying to chase you around the payload. I can't understate enough how important it is, hijinks. You manage to stay alive against an ultimate and the Diva chasing you by literally just making it a 180 around the payload. Super, super important. That kind of just gives you an idea how important it is with the positioning that I pointed out at the beginning, right? Like, small things like that makes a huge difference. Ooh. Watch out for the thing. Okay. A little bit chaotic. Again, if you apply kind of like the mindset that we were talking about, like with the positioning, much of these deaths could have been avoided, right? So try and keep that in mind a little bit, right? Is that if we kind of like put that into our head a little bit and we have the rotation down with the kunais and the healing papers, it would have gone a lot different. I was so disgruntled at this point. What do you mean? Overwatch brings out the joy in people, you know? This game actually brings out the happiness in everyone. I don't know what everyone's talking about, that this game is rage-inducing. I play Overwatch to be happy, you know what I'm saying? I love all the people in this game. They're... The joy, the wide matchmaking clap, and how perfect this game truly is, and how non-RNG matchmaking is. I don't know, man. It just brings joy to all people around the world. I would go as far as saying that Overwatch makes me a better person, really.
Don't worry, I'll be right behind you.
Push your limits.
Overwatch makes me a better person. Alright, we're playing Mercy. Now I'm gonna look at your positioning. Oh, you have the pink Mercy skin. Thanks for donating for charity. Have you played Warzone? That's joy. Dude, I played the new Warzone. I played the new Warzone. I won a couple games, and then I was like, I'm bored. And then I kind of didn't play it anymore.
You done?
Shut your fucking mouth, Cole. I don't care.
5, 4,
Go fuck yourself.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Thanks, Doc.
I require assistance. Still boosting you. Manifest.
Ripperonis for the 8 months. Appreciate you, brother.
Peepo happy, Peepo nice.
Okay, now we have a tracer on us. Be a little bit... Okay. Need to be a little bit careful about the jumps there, but it was good. You know the tech. One thing that I'm seeing right off the rip is it's actually okay to do damage, like damage boost something, as long as they're not critical, right? If your target gets down to like 80-70%, it's completely fine to hope that they will hit some shots and get the damage out, right? It's kind of like when they start reaching 60-70% is when you kind of want to rotate your healing a little bit, but it's completely fine to damage boost the target if they're like around 80-70%. They go under 70, start healing immediately to kind of get them up above that threshold, but beyond that, it's completely fine to damage boost, trust me. Crossing the middle of the battlefield like this is very, very scary, and that's something that we never should do. Instead, you had a target that you could actually jump up to on high ground, which probably would have made it so the tracer couldn't chip you down. I presume that you're going to die here, which is really bad for your team, but on the offset that you don't, good. But we never really want to do this, and we talked about this on Kiriko as well, right? We never really want to... You can apply the same logic in terms of like the positioning, kind of how you should position yourself with Mercy. You can do the exact same thing when it comes to Kiriko, right? The only thing that is different is that instead of throwing kunais, you're damage boosting every once in a while, right? So I want you to try and apply that on all the support heroes that you play because it works on all of them. I think the only character that it kind of a little bit off would be maybe Moira, but other than that, actually Moira and Lucio. But other than that, all the other heroes you can apply the same logic to, which is a good thing about that tip, right? So try and integrate that gameplay to all the heroes that you can. If I played Mercy here, which I don't, but if I did, I would have jumped up on high ground and made it more harder for Tracer to actually get me. And I probably would have stayed there until my HP has recovered to at least 150 to 160, and then I would probably jump down and help again. But yeah, crossing the enemy line like this is very scary. foreshadowing. We're dead. We're dead. We died.
My skills are still needed.
Dead eyes ready.
Get damage boost the Moira here for the ultimate. Damage boost high noon. Okay. I would have damage boosted the Moira when she had ultimate out. But it's okay. If you damage boosted the Moira there earlier, she would have killed the Tracer way earlier. So that's why it's so important to rotate your damage boost and your healing boost consistently back and forth. Because if you damage boosted the Moira, the Tracer would have died early and she could have saved her cooldown. You just want to point that out. There's a small little thing. There's like, if you know that one of your teammates is fighting and they have like they're not critical HP, damage boosting that will yield so many more kills than you think. So I kind of just want to point that out. We kind of got stuck on healing there. Rotating is really important. Okay. I mean, you're getting value out of the Valk here. Why the fuck not? Why not? Shields up, do damage. Okay. Okay, Uramatra has decided that he had enough. Cheeky. Cheeky positioning on the rest there. That's actually kind of big brain. We died for it. See, that rest was kind of interesting because you hid in the bushes so they didn't see you. Stealth 1000%, by the way. So I like that. However, we did the same mistake again where we kind of like ran in a straight line and we kind of walked to the payload. And again, the reason why this is bad is because it's so incredibly easy to hit something that is just moving in a one-dimensional kind of way. And again, it goes back to what we talked about before. Like, so if you go back to the rest, right? We rest him here. I don't know how you pulled this off, but you did. So kudos to you. It was a good rest. Getting your tank up here is actually really good, and it probably will be the equalizer. But instead of like going down here and then Guardian Angeling onto the payload and walking, rest him and then walk over here instead. You know? This will guarantee that you stay alive, right? And if you stay alive, then you have a bigger chance of winning the fight, right? So, you know, obviously the Bastion got a double kill, so it's looking kind of grim. One of them were you, so now your team doesn't have any healer, but like, we rest here, we go down here, we take a left side angle, and we don't take any damage, right? So we don't need to just walk onto the payload like this and hope for the best. We can actually make our decision here a slightly better one and survive. So I want to point that out, but the rest was really nice. It's just that you kind of fumbled a little bit after the rest, but other than that, it was good. Easy clap chat.
Zeit für einen neuen Plan. Angel at your shoulder.
My ultimate's ready.
You cannot escape me.
Dead eyes
30 seconds remaining.
Wake up and boosting your head.
Gotta be careful. Gotta be a little bit careful there.
Surrender to my will.
An attempt was made, but the moment we showed our beam, the Winston knew where to go. So need to be a little bit careful where we show off where we're standing, right?
Thank my medical professional.
Team is a little bit staggered. You try and touch the payload. I don't see any issues with that.
I offer something more.
My ultimate is not ready yet.
Roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up, roll check it out.
Group up. Join together.
Join me.
Alright.
Cannot escape me.
Whoa. Okay, now we need to get out of this position. Every time you rest, for whatever reason, literally just spam every single button that you have. Like AD spam as much as you can, and fucking roll your mouse around like you have ADHD. Seriously. On the offset that they see you rest and they're trying to kill you, you spamming and being a fucking idiot like that will keep you alive more than you think. Trust me when I say that. Like, literally, just go, like, you just do it like you're having a fucking stroke. Like, anything to make you harder to hit. Never, ever rest someone and stand still. Ever. You know what I'm saying? It's way better to actually try and do something than nothing at all. Small thing, but I just want to point it out. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, I mean, that Valk was kind of good, because it looks to me like you're making it work. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Jesus. Alright, not bad. Good ult. I mean, obviously you were healing more because you wanted to heal yourself at the same time, so that was good. Didn't really need a damage boost there. Good use of cover. Good use of trying to be in safe places at any given time. I don't know what the fucking Bastion tried to kill PP Mercy there, but I mean, an attempt was made, huh? Okay, now we know the soldier's going left side. We heard him. Now we need to keep an eye on the left side. This is chaos. Holy shit.
I truly have no quarrel with you. I'm sorry.
Now we won this fight, right? We won this fight, but imagine how hard it would have been for the enemy team to do anything to you if you're playing high ground instead, my dude. You know what I'm saying? If you play high ground here, you're doing the exact same thing that you were doing on the low ground, except that you're harder to get to. I don't know. I feel like playing high ground here is just way better. If you're gonna approach this fight like this, it's completely fine to do what you're doing. I just would have liked you to play high ground here. It's more safe for you, and it also gives you the ability to like take cover in case someone's shooting at you. You stay alive here is probably going to be vital to you winning the fight. The reason why I want you to take more of a safe position here is, well, if you look at the timer, right, it's imperial that you stay alive, right? If you die, you're most likely going to lose the next fight, right? So the reason why we want to take a more of a safe approach to this fight is because it's going to be the last fight and we can't afford to die, right? So we always want to try and keep our safety first and the team's safety second. Playing on the low ground like this, you know, there's so much shit going on the ground that, you know, on the offset that someone might hit like a lucky grenade on you, maybe a soldier hits a lucky right click, or the Orisa hits a javelin on you, you know, it's night and you're dead. So I would rather that you approach this from a high ground perspective, because it allows you to do the exact same thing that you were doing, but from a safe perspective instead. So sometimes it's very vital to kind of figure out where the time is, so we try and want to play a little bit safer.
Step right up.
Okay, the Moira just got obliterated. And
There's a test subject.
okay. Not bad. There are, like, I mean, there's a lot of things I can say, but I'm a firm believer that I can sit here and give you like 10 more different tips, but I think it's just too much. I do think that there's a thing called diminishing returns, and I think that the flaws that we pointed out for now is more than enough for you to start climbing. And I think that you're going to do exceptionally well when your positioning gets better and your rotation gets better on like the kunais and the healing on Kiriko, and the way you position yourself as a support player will probably make the biggest difference. If I were to like give you even more tips, I think it would fall into the equation of you trying to even remember half the shit that I'm saying. So try and remember the tips I gave you on Kiriko. Apply that logic to other support heroes as well, and I think you're gonna do just fine. This game was not bad. You're not bad at all. I do think personally that with the help of some of the tips that I provided, and if you kind of integrate that into your gameplay, I think you're gonna see a lot more success. Yeah, no, for real. I think if you try and implement some of the tips that I told you, and you go from there, and I think that you're gonna start climbing. There are some rough parts for sure, but I think that's enough for you to sort of like think about and integrate into your gameplay. And then, you know, a little bit, couple weeks down the line, when you sort of like, you know, understand these tips a little bit better, and you kind of understand where you should be positioned, you understand your rotation on the damage and healing boost, and the way you should be using your kunais versus the fucking healing IRS papers, right? I think we can take it to the next level there, but I don't want to give you too much, but I think that's fine.